Welcome to the Three Path Profits podcast, where we'll talk about business, finance, social media, and everything in between on our paths to profit. Three different people, three different side hustles, one common goal: profit. My name is Kyle,
My name is Lexi.
My name is Amanda.
and we're your hosts. If you want more details about each of our side hustles, please check out our episode 4 from last week. To set the proper expectations for today's episode, our format will be as follows. We'll start today's pod, each discussing our updates from our experiences over the last week, what our goals are for the upcoming week, and then we'll wrap up today's pod with a quick summary and some expectations moving forward. Let's dive in, and first we'll hear from Lexi.
Alrighty, so I kind of have like a lot of updates, even though like they're small updates, but they're a lot of updates. So I did end up making an Instagram for Anything Cricket Co. So that is official. We do have an Instagram account now. I did make it a business account, and I also added my Etsy shop link in my bio. I'm not only going to be posting like the items I'm selling on it. I'm going to be posting items that I see that like are really cool that I think like are DIY'd, or like if people tell me they're DIY'd, and like also promote them as well, or um, possibly even videos of me making the items, pictures of me making the items, and also like kind of my setup. I already posted a picture of me and like my setup actually as I made the wine glasses in the past couple days. So just kind of not focusing just on the items I'm selling, kind of going to be doing bigger than just that on the page. So I did make 2 items this past week. I did 2 wine glasses. I did one that I uploaded on my Etsy. I didn't upload the other one yet. I'm going to probably wait to see how the first one does. And then I'm going to do the other one as a giveaway just to like a family or friend. I originally had it for to give to Amanda, but then I realized she's in Florida, so we needed to do a different one. So I have even though I posted the one, I'm still going to be doing it as a giveaway, but I'm not going to post the other one that I made just yet. Also, I was thinking for whenever I'm like posting these items and whatnot and all the different things that I could be doing, I could just like post a blank picture of like the wine glass and then upload the designs in which I could make, rather than only uploading the designs and things that I have already made. So like using Canva or like another app or something that I've already used previously, and like just take the designs that I've made on Cricut and put them in Canva and then put them on the wine glass per se, like if that makes sense, just to like show like this is what it could look like, rather than having to continuously make the items over and over again.
For sure, you could just do. So I've seen a lot on Etsy where they just show the different fonts.
Yes, exactly. So like
Yeah.
show the different fonts, show the different designs, do kind of that rather than making so many different ones and then posting each individual one, showing the people like here's all the different things that you could have or I could make and things like that, rather than again putting all that time and effort and money and into the things that I don't need to be making necessarily. So I thought kind of long and hard on that I'm definitely going to be kind of dipping my toes into and kind of moving forward on that aspect. Um, I did do some Googling and kind of hopped around on like consumer reports, deciding if I'm going to be going at the items that are popular or kind of what we talked about last week on things that are in lower demand that could potentially get bigger. Because obviously, if I stuck with like birthday, holiday, wedding items, obviously those are all in high demand at all times because they're constantly happening. But again, it's also the competition of all the other people who are making those types of products and things like that. So it's kind of trying to decide if I want to go with that or go with the more like niche product that people aren't necessarily buying constantly. So I'm not in too much competition. So I did kind of already talk about like the giveaways and whatnot, but I'm just going to have them now like tag my Instagram, or if they only have a Facebook or whatever, just kind of, or even through word of mouth, just to let them know that I do have the Etsy shop, and just say like, hey, it's Anything Cricket Co., either through the Etsy shop or give them my Instagram link or whatever. And then I was actually looking more in depth on the stats. Like you can look really in depth on stats on Etsy shop, which is actually kind of cool. Like you could see exactly which item that they were looking at if they just looked at your page, if they had it in their cart, if they like there's a bunch of different things. It's actually really cool. And it's you can see that the things that I'm uploading most recently, people are putting like not in their cart, but they're viewing the most. So I'm kind of realizing how important it is to continuously post and have more things listed on the shop because that's what people are seeing. It's coming up more frequently and it's the newest item on the page. So definitely want to continuously post and kind of stick to that at least 1 week or one item a week goal. Um, and then I know we talked about this last week, but I did make a spreadsheet of the items I bought, how much I've spent so far to kind of be able to track like what I've spent, monitor how much I've been spending just to make sure I don't go overboard on it because I know I definitely probably can. So, and also I think with that, the editing apps can be really good, like using Canva and using the different designs and whatnot. So that'll help limit my spending as well. I know, like, obviously, I'm not a per hour individual because this is like a side hustle thing, but really documenting my time exactly to the T of how long it makes start to finish. I kind of did it with one of the wine glasses. It was very little, it was only like 15 minutes, like from the time I started to do the design and put it on the cup. But just to kind of see exactly how long it takes me to complete one item start to finish. So, kind of that's my week sum up. I know that was kind of a lot of information thrown at once, but I feel like I had a very productive week. I'm very happy with everything I accomplished in the week, especially because I feel like I've been constant on social life as well. But I would say definitely my goals moving forward are continuously making one item a week, regardless if it's just using Canva and other editing apps, at least just to make designs and then be able to upload the designs, whether that be on my Instagram or my Etsy shop as well. Just even like showing people what they can get, even if it's not posted on my shop, they could reach out through Instagram or whatever. And posting on my Instagram often, items I've made in the past, items I'm making currently, or items I could make, kind of just what I said. And also really focusing on like the promotion of my items or items that I could sell and just the brand in general.
Yeah, I do have some questions here. I think it would, first one was just a comment, saving time by uploading those options, not necessarily only listing stuff that you've already made, I think is a no brainer.
Yeah.
That's way more scalable, way more consumer focused. That's definitely a good idea to start doing
Yeah.
that. I think it's also good to have some revenue focused items and then have some creative or fun focused items. Like you're trying to find what's going to sell, right?
Yeah.
And what's going to actually drive revenue, drive people to the site. I think that's going to be there are a lot of those, like you mentioned, like the birthday, the holiday, those type of items that are people are always buying that kind of thing. You know, the demand is there. That's a good revenue focused item. But then like some creative and fun shit that like you just want to mess around and have fun with. Those are going to be cool ones to do as like giveaways and posts and all that stuff to drive some creativity.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to kind of create two different categories. One that you're just trying to sell in volume. You can make a bunch of at once at a time. If someone is having a wedding, they're probably going to want like 100, right?
Yeah.
Versus if someone's just looking around and they see like a cool design that you did or something unique, and they're probably only going to buy like one or four or something like that.
Yeah.
My next question after that point was, is it scalable? Like if you got an order for something that was like 120 of the same thing for a big wedding, how long would it take you to make that? Could you handle the volume? And like, have you thought about anything like that happening?
I think it would kind of depend on what the item is because like I know personally, like I got koozies is my like gift to everyone at my wedding, and I know I could easily make like 100 to 200 to 300 of those. That wouldn't take me very long, especially with how fast the Cricut can get out the design, and all you would have to do is then iron it on to the koozie. So I know that wouldn't take very long. So I guess it kind of depends what the product is. Now, if it's
Mm.
like 100 champagne flutes, I mean, obviously that's going to be a lot more tedious because you have to make sure that it's centered on the glass. You have to make sure that the font's perfect. You have to make sure that everything's kind of put on there right. So I would say it kind of depends on what the product is. I definitely think if I were to get an order like that, I definitely think I would be able to do it, especially because as of right now, obviously I don't have any orders, but I would say with having the Cricut and being able to manage the, I guess, workload myself, I feel like I would easily be able to kind of get that done, if that makes sense.
And I would say communication would be best on that too. Like,
Yeah.
I always message with the people on Etsy that I'm buying stuff off of. They usually send like a proof kind of thing.
Yep.
And all you have to do is message them and say, hey, I just got your order for blah, blah, blah. I'm so excited that you ordered this with the large quantity. It might take me a little bit longer. I'll keep you updated with every like step in the progress,
Yeah.
in the process.
Right, like got 10 done, got
Yeah.
40 done,
Yeah.
got 80 done.
Yeah, especially because it is so easy to message, again, like the sellers and the consumers on Etsy. I mean, like, you genuinely just have to just go to your messages and it's already there, like with your order confirmation, and you can message the seller. So it is super easy to have that communication back and forth. And I definitely would be sending a proof anyway, obviously. So I think I would already have that kind of communication set already.
Do you have more questions, Kyle?
Just more of like a comment, I guess, just as a continuation of this is I think the birthday, holiday, those type of things those are going to be your burst orders where you're going to get a huge influx at a time. Those are going to be the revenue focused items. Like those are going to be the ones that you can charge a low price, that you can get them all done very quickly, very non-labor intensive. Those are going to be ones that I think you really focus on marketing. Like that's going to be something that once you start getting contacts, like getting some recognition, start getting some momentum of people associating anything Cricut company with, oh, I have a wedding coming up or I have a friend's birthday party coming up.
Yeah.
Once they get it associated with that, they'll go to your site knowing that they can get that need quickly filled at a good price and a good value.
Yeah.
And the other times that you're not marketing those items, that's where I think you're doing the more detailed, like involved, more labor intensive items. And I think you just charge a really high price for those. Like those are going to be the ones that you take more time on. They're the more valuable pieces. They're not going to be as high volume, but when someone buys one of those, they're buying it for the detail, for the quality. They're going to pay the price for that value. And I think those are the ones that you really just fill your store with as you continue to make items. But from a marketing standpoint, I think you focus on the scalable ones, getting into some people's birthdays or parties or whatever the experience is. I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah, to kind of key off of what you just said, I feel like the mirror that I had put up obviously for my wedding, like the welcome mirror, like obviously that's an item only they're going to buy one of. And obviously that's an item that's a lot bigger, takes a lot more time. Or if I were to put up the cornhole boards that I made as like my guest book, kind of things like that, those are going to be the items that I would, obviously it's like they're going to buy once and they're not going to buy like a bunch of them. So I feel like those are going to be my items that are kind of like an example, I guess, of those items that would take me longer and more kind of creative and things like that.
Now that you have
So
an Instagram, you should so make a reel with the cornhole boards, because that's like a real example of it done and how you used it, and that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, I
was going to say, now that you have the Instagram, you can reach out to some planners, some photographers, some people who are like already in that niche where they're already like in the market. They have all the demand already at their fingertips.
Yeah.
Just start giving them some free shit and have it get out there publicity wise. And that's going to drive revenue there. A lot of people are going to
I like that idea.
Especially because I feel like I didn't have like any bad rapport with any of the people that even I used for my wedding. So I could easily be like, hey, like if I made myself a business card and I just like kind of like sent them a business card with like something in the mail or whatever, and just be like, here, like here's for your next wedding if you want to use it or whatever, kind of things like that. for them to be able to give out and also have my contact info to give out to people.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I have 3.
Yeah.
First one, we talked about this a while back. I forget what episode we talked about it. The trademark prints.
Yeah.
So if you're doing like NFL or stuff like that, have
Yeah.
you looked into the legality of that? Are you allowed to make things with those kind of prints? Do you know how that all works?
I didn't look into the legality of it, but I'm going to assume with like plagiarism laws, you would probably have to at least purchase it. Kind of like we talked about previously, how I purchased the Busch Light logo to then use.
So if you purchase the logo, though, is that a one-time thing that you're just then allowed to continue to use it however many times you want?
I don't know. Let's look into this a little more real quick. I'll Google it real fast.
While you're Googling that, I'll ask you the next one because you'll probably be able to answer while you're doing that.
Okay.
I know from experience, whenever I've used Etsy, it always says estimated shipping date. How does that work on the back end of things? Do you say based on the day they order, it'll estimated 3 days after to be shipped? How does that back end side work?
So you can either use like a flat shipping or like you can make your own shipping. Like per cost, like you can weigh out the item, you can do those kind of different things to kind of know exactly how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take. Or Etsy can kind of do it for you based on the weight requirements and everything that you put in there based on your item. So for me, I put a flat rate of $5 on all my shipping items. And then I say normally processing and shipping is like 10 to 14 is on my page. I say that obviously because I'd rather them get it earlier than them get it later and be upset about it. So obviously, see, for me personally, I would let them know, hey, I just shipped out your order today. You should have it in X amount of days based on whatever the post office would tell me, or kind of whatever like that. I know there's a bunch of different shipping company, not like it's not a company, but it's like a that people use for small businesses to kind of use like that. I forget the one that I'm thinking of. But again, I could kind of, if I did get a bunch of orders, I could use them and be able to kind of get a more fixed rate and fixed day and time, obviously, for it. But as the back end, you can kind of pick either Etsy's or make your own.
You have another question, Amanda?
Yeah, I was just giving her a second to Google, but
no, you're good.
My last question, when you were talking about making your Instagram, you said you made it a business account. I don't even know if I did that. What does a business account mean on Instagram?
So essentially, like, you know how like you can make it say like website and blogs, like, or entrepreneur, like how people have that like under their name. That's the difference. You can like boost your posts, promote your posts, and like you can also so whenever you're in it, it kind of essentially is the same, but there's tools and everything for just a professional dashboard. You can see accounts engaged, accounts reached, total followers, content you shared, like messaging tools, ad tools, branded content, and like it gives you like helpful resources as a business account to kind of use and grow your business through them, if that makes sense. It kind of gives you a bunch of different insights. So there's like a professional dashboard that you can use like just for business accounts that isn't on a personal account.
I definitely need to look into that.
There's also a creator account as well that isn't a business account. Like you can make either a business or a creator. So for your end, you would make a creator, not a business. And you can go in and change that just on your set.
Yeah, creator is just more trying to produce content. Business is more trying to drive direct click response.
Yeah. So maybe I did that when I made my account. I don't remember because it's been a couple months now.
Yeah.
But whenever I post reels and stuff, it has a little thing in the corner that says view insights. So maybe I already did that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to look into it.
If it says view insights, you did. Because the view insights is kind of being able to see all of those different things.
Yeah.
You might have just chose business or whatever. Like you can choose Like,
I don't have that little title though in my bio. I know what you're talking about. I don't have
you don't
that.
have to though. You can make it public or you could keep it private. It depends. You're able to keep it public or private. I don't have mine on there just because clearly if I have my Etsy shop in there, you know it's a business
For
account.
sure. Yeah.
I don't think it's
Mhm.
necessary to say entrepreneur in my
Right.
bio. So I just said, no, there's no reason to do that. But I know on my end, it is that business account. So I can use those different tools and everything that they offer with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says, at least for the NFL and MLB, they have brand usage guidelines that must be followed to sell their products with their logos. These rules typically require getting permission or licensing from the organization before using any artwork that includes their logo. So it says it's generally not legal to sell artwork featuring the likeness of a sports team without permission because they own the rights to their name and logo.
Mm-hmm. I wonder though, like if you write Steelers without their formal logo on it,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that works.
Yeah.
I just think that's something worth looking into because that's a huge market too.
Mm-hmm. And I've thought about that obviously with like a sweatshirt or because like I know
Mhm.
so many people are like, "Oh, I want
Yeah.
to get like a hoodie or a t-shirt or whatever for this Steelers game or this Pirates game." Like,
Well, and especially because you know how to do that tie dye thing.
yeah,
You could make such cute stuff.
yeah. So, yeah, I definitely
I
think
was
go ahead.
I was gonna ask Amanda, is that sweatshirt that Rowan got us, like favorite cousin? Did you get one of those?
Mhm.
Did she make that with a cricket?
She made it, so I'm assuming something like a cricket. If not, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple different types of
yeah.
versions of a cricket. It's not just a cricket. But I know there's also ones specifically for clothes and like hats and different types of fabric
Mhm.
rather than a cricket you can do all of them, not just those types of
Yeah,
items. But yeah, I'll probably end up that'll be one of my goals I'll set is kind of doing more research into what really is the legality behind
I like it.
the logos.
Before Kyle goes, your Instagram, anything Cricket Co. There's no periods, no spaces, no nothing.
Nope, all lowercase, anything Cricket Co.
Everyone go give her a follow.
All right. So, update. I purchased all the stocks I mentioned last week. I will list them again: Bank of America, Blackstone Mortgage Trust, Ford, Kraft Heinz Company, Coca Cola, Pfizer, Prudential, the SPYD, the TLT, and the VYM. So, what I did was I went into Interactive Brokers and I bought $100 of each stock. So you can buy stock in two different ways. You can buy it with shares or you can buy it in dollars. So you're allowed to buy fractional shares. So instead of, say, buying 10 shares at $10 for $100, you can just say, I want to buy $100 of that company. So that's what I did because I wanted to do an equal weighted portfolio of $100 into each. And I'm going to track this portfolio based on how it's going to perform. I will continually update if I've added anything to the positions, if I've subtracted anything from the positions, and their dividend reinvestments as well. That is the next thing I'll go over here is I did set the portfolio up for dividend reinvestments. What that means is as you get the dividends, like I mentioned before, they repurchase shares. So instead of the dividends just going as cash into your account, just automatically reinvest into that same stock so that you get compounding growth so that the next time you get dividends, it's more dividends. There are also there are companies in this portfolio that have increasing dividends. So, like Coca Cola, for example, has increased their dividend amount 61 years in a row. So, what that means is as they increase their dividend, that's increasing the amount of cash flow that you're going to get from that dividend each year. That's a very attractive thing that dividend investors look for. Looking at these notes on Seeking Alpha here, Bank of America, 10 years of dividend growth, Coca Cola, 61, Pfizer 13, Prudential 15, and the VYM 13. Just the consistency of growth there is awesome. That means that the companies are performing well over a long period of time and that they have a track record of that consistent dividend. Because there is also the risk of dividend investing is that the company goes through a stressful time or financial trouble. The first thing to get cut usually is the dividend. And that is a possibility for both Ford and Blackstone. Blackstone's having cash flow problems. Ford's dividend is always just unstable. So those are companies that you always have to look out for. They pay a higher yield for that risk. So like Coca-Cola and Bank of America, they were the ones who consistently are increasing the dividend over time. Very safe, very consistent dividend, financial juggernauts, these companies. They pay less yield, so they're paying less of a return of a dividend because it's less risk versus Ford or Blackstone. They don't pay it as consistently or as safely, so they have to pay more of the yield to attract the investors.
When you say, sorry, real quick, when you say Blackstone, do you mean like the girls and stuff? Is that what Blackstone is?
No, different company. Blackstone is the parent company of Blackstone Mortgage Trust. It's an alternative assets investment firm. So they're basically just pooling people's money and making investments similar to like I would do if like all three of us, if you two like gave me your money and I would invest it to try to beat the market.
Yeah.
That's basically what they do. And they have other investment vehicles like Blackstone Mortgage Trust, which is what I own in this portfolio, which like that is solely dedicated to real estate, where they're just buying commercial real estate and taking the rents off of that. A little bit of a macro actually the upcoming dividends that I'm looking forward to now that I have the position in place is Ford is going to be the first dividend that I'm receiving on June 6th. Prudential is the second one that comes out on June 13th. Pfizer comes out on 6/14. It's my birthday. That's cool. Kraft Heinz and Bank of America both send their dividends out on the 28th, and Coca-Cola is on the 21st. So as you can see, like the dates vary. So if you have a portfolio with a bunch of different companies paying you dividends, you theoretically could get paid a dividend every single day if you owned enough stocks and enough dividend paying stocks. They don't all necessarily pay on the same schedule or the same day or anything like that. A little bit of a macro update. I do always keep a pulse on this. This is really how I'm trying to make educated investment decisions, by just keeping a pulse on the market, current events, all the things that make up the economy and impact the investments that you make. The U.S. market is continuing to expand. The market's been really resilient. The interest rates are really high from the Federal Reserve right now, so that should be a restrictive policy, which means they want the economy to slow down, basically. And right now, the economy is proving resilient. Consumers are still spending. Businesses are posting good earnings. So everything seems like it's going very well. But the interest rate uncertainty still looms, and it's going to have a restrictive effect on the market. It's just a matter of when and how hard, and when the Federal Reserve is going to pivot and start lowering interest rates. But I'll keep updating on that as time goes on. Consumer sentiment fell last Friday, which was very interesting to me because that's, I think, a leading indicator of where the economy is going. People's opinions on the economy have a real material effect on the economy. If you think the economy is going to be bad, everyone starts thinking that, people start buying less shit, the economy starts stalling, and it's a snowball effect. So that's always very important to note. And it was down after 3 consecutive months of like no change. So that was a big development for me there. And then on the inflation front, always just watching the inflation numbers. In late of last year, the inflation numbers started to get really good, meaning coming down. The Federal Reserve was happy with the progress that we were making. And this year in the first quarter and into the second quarter, even now, it's starting to reverse. Inflation has either stagnated or even started to creep back up in certain areas. And that has just a lot of uncertainty around where interest rates are heading and ultimately where the economy is heading to. So we'll keep updates on the current events there as well.
Quick question. For the consumer sentiment that you were talking about, does that
Mhm.
have a big effect on the stocks that you purchased? Especially since like you have like Coca-Cola and Ford and things like that, obviously, which are consumer-based companies.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good question. The simple answer is yes, but the more complex answer is some more than others. Like Ford is obviously going to be huge on consumer sentiment. Most people already have a car that's at least going to function. If they're very hopeful about the economy and things are going well, they might splurge and get that new 2025 Ford F-150. If they're not feeling good about the economy, they don't think a Christmas bonus is coming or something like that, they may hold off. When they start making those hold off decisions, that's what starts to affect like companies like Ford most directly. But those decisions have a ripple effect on all companies because the economy is intertwined.
Yeah.
So the simple answer, like I mentioned, is yes, it affects all of them, but some more than others and some more directly and more quickly.
Okay.
Next, I have some questions just for you guys, just to engage a little bit. What are your guys' thoughts on the overall economy? Like, are you guys confident in the job market? Are you worried about inflation? What are you guys seeing at like your personal grocery stores, talking with friends, hearing at work, etc.?
Grocery store wise, it's expensive, but I mean, I'm used to it now, I guess. And those are the kind of things that, sure, you can complain about how much more expensive it's gotten, but you still need to eat. Same thing with gas. Like, I don't ever look at how much gas is because I need to get to work. I need to have gas in my car. I need to have food. So it is what it is. But yeah, groceries are expensive. Today I bought, it was like 4 bags worth of things and it was over $100 at Walmart.
That's personally why I've actually stopped shopping at Walmart so much because of how much Walmart has gone up. Like I have been sticking with Aldi like
Yeah.
hardcore because I swear like Walmart is trying to become the new Target while they can right now, while everything's so high. They're changing all their layouts, they're making their clothes look like this big ooh ah thing, and it's just like it's becoming ridiculous. Like I used to go to Walmart to like save money and not feel like I'm going to like Giant Eagle or Target and spending out the ass. And now I'm just like,
It's
well,
still very much less than those. Sure, Aldi is
I was gonna
definitely,
say because that's why I like asking these
yeah.
questions and why it was cool for this exercise is because the entire economy feels the opposite of you based off of Walmart's earnings and like what people are saying about
yeah.
Walmart
I
is
love
that they're
Walmart,
the
so I'll
same.
I'll
I am
stand up for
biased too. I
Walmart
love
till the day I die.
Don't get me
same.
wrong. I still love Walmart, but I know everything that I have bought at Aldi has been cheaper than at Walmart.
Mm.
Every single thing I've looked, I've compared the prices, especially with like meat. Like I thought Walmart was cheaper than Aldi, and it turns out Aldi's
No, I feel like that's never been a thing.
Yeah, I thought Aldi's was always cheaper than
I thought
Walmart.
meat wise it was cheaper, but nope.
But I have noticed there's certain things because I started going to Costco maybe a little over a year ago now. There are certain things that are just as cheap at Walmart as they are at Costco. Like normally I buy olive oil at Costco and today I bought it at Walmart because it was just as cheap at Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say even buying the items at bulk like you do at Costco or Sam's Club, whatever, it still doesn't necessarily it's going to be the same at the other stores 9 times out of 10 anyway, at least right now.
It also largely depends on what you're buying.
Yeah.
Are you buying a name brand of something? Are you buying like the Great Value brand, the Market District brand, what like the
Yeah.
version of that company's brand?
Yeah.
Are you buying organic? It very much depends on what
Oh,
you're
for
buying.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would say like is talking with friends and like hearing things at work, I mean, definitely everyone's like, everything's so overpriced, it's absurd, but that doesn't mean everyone's not buying things still, like especially people with children. Like
Yeah.
people are like, children go out of clothes like it's no tomorrow. Like
Mhm.
everyone that I work with has kids except like one person, so they're constantly buying clothes, they're constantly still going out feeding their families, and like just like Amanda said, like we have to get to work somehow, like you have to spend money on gas. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, people are complaining about it, but it's not necessarily doing anything because we still need those things.
That's where it goes back to the point of sentiment affects some companies and portions of the economy more than others. That's why like oil and energy companies are considered defensive investments. Because just like you, Amanda, when I pull in the gas station, I don't look
Yeah.
what the number
Yeah.
is. Like I have to get
Yeah.
gas. I'm at the gas station. I'm buying the gas. I'm not looking to see if it's 352 or 359.
Like
I'm just
mom,
buying
where
the
she goes
gas.
somewhere out of her way to get 3 cents cheaper.
Yeah. So I mean, those defensive
Sorry, mom.
things are it just is what it is. Like you have to buy the product. It's a need, not a good or a luxury brand. And that's where, like you were saying, Amanda, it depends on what you're buying.
Yeah.
If you're strapped for cash, you're still going to need gas. You might not buy a new purse or some new earrings or
Yeah.
something like that.
I think the more where I see it is the housing market, especially with people our age. I was very fortunate in buying when I did, but there's a lot of people my age, even up to 5 years older than me, that didn't buy when I did and now feel like they can't afford to buy. They don't want to buy because of the interest rates. So that's where I see it more for at least our age bracket.
I mean, I even feel like I got lucky whenever I bought, because I
Yeah.
feel like I was like the last straw of when it
Yeah.
started going berserk.
Yeah.
Because like whenever we bought was right before I feel like everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's just at this point I should just rent.
When did you buy? What month?
February of 22.
Shit hit the fan way before that. You must have got when it
Yeah.
dipped down. Shit hit the fan in
Yeah.
like 2020.
Well, but I'm just
See, that's the thing. When it hit the fan, and it was 2020, it was July, August of 2021. It wasn't 2020, but
Mm,
it was,
okay.
yeah, it was. It was some areas. Like if you were in an area that had high demand, you could list for 600,000 and it would go for 800,000 the next day.
yeah.
Other areas didn't hit that same bonanza where it was you still found deals, you still
Yeah.
found value, you still paid fair price
Yeah.
in the areas where people weren't going outrageous. And that's where you can still go out and buy a house. It's just might not be in your favorite area or the most popular area. It's just
You just have to buy a
I
smaller house than you anticipated.
smaller house
Yeah.
if you otherwise wouldn't have in
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
areas.
for sure.
And then one other question I jotted down here while we're talking is what are some brands or companies you guys are passionate about or see them having success over the next 5 years?
I got a one that popped right in my brain.
Me too.
Probably the same one as you, Lex. Shein. And honestly, Kyle, this is probably worth looking into to see what's going on in the business side of that company, because I ordered recently and the other day I went to go return stuff. And so as the company has progressed, it's a company based in China, but as the company has progressed, it went from you can return and you'll get money credited basically to your Shein account. Or if you wanted it to go back to your bank account, it took a lot longer. So back in the early days, I would just have them put it on my Shein account because then it would go quick and then I could just basically have free money to play with. I know it's not free money, but so then as it progressed, then the amount of time it took to go back onto your card decreased exponentially. So now it's like a couple days later, it's automatically back on your account. So now I just have it go back on my account. And now the most recent update that I've seen in terms of returns is you can actually take your returns now back to a Forever 21 store.
Mhm.
So my theory is Shein bought out Forever 21 and now has some kind of play in the Forever 21 company.
I was thinking this. I kind of was on the same page with that, and also I've heard a lot of talk about Shein opening up stores in malls.
Yeah.
And so again, that could be because they bought out Forever 21 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of talk that.
And listen, Forever 21 used to be my store.
Me too.
That's literally where I used to shop, and I haven't stepped foot in a Forever 21 since I started ordering on Shein.
Me too. Because really, like, as long as you like are looking at the reviews, 9 times out of 10 you're getting what you want.
Yeah.
And I just placed an order.
And it's ridiculously easy to return stuff.
Yeah.
So when people say, like, I want to try it on, order it and return it if you don't like it.
Yeah. Because what? It's going to be $4 and then just return it if you don't like it.
And a lot of times, like in this past order that I just had, they'll say you'll get your refund and you can just keep the item.
Yeah. Half the time.
I returned 10 things and the one pair of jeans. So like, just keep them. You'll get your money back anyways.
Oh yeah. Half the time they don't even want the item back. My mom has given me so many pairs of like, my like jeans or dresses or whatever. Cause she's like, yeah, Shein didn't want it back. Here you go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay.
So in August of 2023, Shein and Forever 21 did join forces. It's part of a joint venture.
21?
Shein
23.
Oh.
2023, Forever 21 joined forces as a part of their partnership. Shein acquired a third of Forever 21's operator, which is Spark Group. That's their owner. So they are intertwined.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it said that if I returned it at Forever 21, I would get a 30% off coupon at Forever 21. It's not one.
Yeah, it looks like
close enough to me. Otherwise, I would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like it's a partnership. I like the partnership. It definitely provides value, drives foot traffic to more Forever 21s, but also enhances the value of buying on Shein, knowing that you can take it to a store if you want to.
Yeah.
When you asked about that, the initial thing where my head went to was Starbucks. Howard Schultz is a genius. He's the CEO of Starbucks for decades. The Starbucks app is actually a bank. They have so much money and they make hundreds of millions of dollars every year from operating as basically a checking account because their customer base has so much money in their loyalty program that once you put that money in there, there's people with $600 in their Starbucks account.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of videos talking about this. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And Starbucks, guess what they get to do? Well, that $600 sits there for 3 years. They get to invest it the whole time. And they know it's going to be spent at theirs anyway. So they don't have to have a risk of holding it as a reserve. They know it's coming to them. Once you deposit in that Starbucks app, it's not like Shein. You can't get it back. You're spending that money at Starbucks. Yeah. So that gives them the opportunity to invest it freely. It's already revenue. They already charged it as revenue.
Yeah.
So this actually sparked a thought for me. Did you watch the video I sent the other day in our family group, Kyle, that was about paying cash? I don't remember if it was Instagram or TikTok.
I think so.
So basically,
yes, I did. Yep, it's legal tender.
It's legal tender, and so all these places now are saying we don't accept cash, but on the dollar bill, on any dollar bill, it says this is legal tender. So
yeah, anywhere in the United States that operates as a business in our country has to legally accept American money.
I don't ever go to Starbucks because I don't drink coffee. Does Starbucks still accept cash?
Yes.
Yes, every company has to, even if they say they don't. They are legally obligated.
They don't say that they don't accept cash.
No, they say
no. You're allowed to pay with cash there. They don't say anything. So that is interesting on the Shein Forever One policy or partnership.
Was that your answer too, Lex?
Yeah,
Shein. Yeah.
We said it pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of validity to that as an investment strategy of what companies do you use? What companies do you think are going to be around in 20 years? What companies would you still buy from if they increase their price 50% because you can't live without them? That is a very strong investment thesis to follow. And it definitely has an appeal. Like I was just looking at Philip Morris. They're the company that Zach works for. They make Zyn. I love Zyn. Shout out Zyn. I should be a brand ambassador.
It's Swedish Match.
No, I think Philip Morris owns Zyn.
No, it's Swedish Match.
Here comes the debate.
I promise you, he works for Swedish Match.
Philip Morris International owns Zyn. The brand was created by Swedish Match, a subsidiary of Philip Morris.
So Swedish Match is in between the two.
Yeah, but it's Philip Morris. Philip Morris owns Swedish Match.
Okay, sure. But Zach works for
Say that.
Swedish Match.
Say that 10 times fast.
Swedish Match, Swedish Match, Swedish Match, Swedish Match. But yeah, I mean, they're another company that I'm looking for to add to the portfolio. They pay a dividend, 5% yield. Love their products. I don't care. Right now, I pay $3.50 for Zyn a can. If it went to $7, I'd still buy it, and I still see myself using it in 10 years. So that's a company that I wouldn't mind getting into or adding to the portfolio at some point. But overall, some goals and some details moving forward. I'm going to, for the next week or two here, start doing some dividend analysis, putting together some research and reports on the health of the dividends of my portfolio, the benefits and costs of a higher yield versus a lower yield, and then just some overgrowth analysis, just some overall portfolio review of like which one's a high dividend, which one's a low dividend, what am I hoping to happen with that stock, delve a little more into the companies that have consistently raised their dividends, the companies that are at the most risk, all of those things, just to give more update and insight into the portfolio, and then some growth opportunities for the portfolio as well. Moving forward, I'm going to kind of do it, my segment like this setup moving forward, where I go over a portfolio performance review first, talk about what's going on with the portfolio, any updates there, any additions or subtractions, go over any upcoming dividend updates or any dividends that happened in the past week. Then I'll go into like a micro check-in on the company specifically, like dive into Ford a little bit, then Prudential, Pfizer, etc. Might not touch on all of them each week, but any developments with any of the specific companies within the portfolio, and then do also a macro check-in, kind of like I did tonight, of what are the overall thoughts of the economy, maybe go over some articles that I read throughout the week, etc., and then go over any current events that are coming up or any thoughts that we have, just kind of like we did tonight with that exercise. So
I like that.
that's kind of what I'm going to be. What's that?
I like that. That was fun.
Yeah, I like it because I feel like so much of what you're kind of into, Kyle, has to deal with the economy and obviously talking about those types of things. So it's fun to talk about them and see how it also affects like
Well, and
all the stocks that you have.
That side of it is way more relatable to me. Like I understand that side. I have way more input on that side than when he throws all the terms and stuff about the stock market at me. I'm like,
yeah, because at the end of the day, the stock market is just a bunch of companies that we interact with every day.
Yeah.
It's just you don't interact with every company.
Yeah.
And when you talk about it in terms that are more personal, it hits home and it lands better than just going through financial analysis of a company.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows what that shit is.
Yeah.
Lex, do you have any questions for him?
I feel like I kind of asked my questions as we went along.
I just have one. What goes into being able to take a company public?
Great question. It's called an initial public offering. Before that, even they would go and do like a prospectus. They would basically go to an investment firm and have them. They would evaluate the company, appraise the company like you do appraising a house, and they would kind of determine based off of their future growth and expected future cash flows that they're going to get from operating. That gets them a value of the company. Then they create shares and assign ownership to those shares for the company. So they do that in an initial public offering where the investment firm creates these shares and brokers the transaction from the public who's going to buy these ownership shares in the company. And in the initial public offering, when the public pays that price for the share, that money goes to the company. So it's funding for the company. All of that equity is then purchased into the company. That's real cash for the business to use. That's one of the reasons why people like to go public, is to raise equity. But that initial public offering is then how the company is then listed on an exchange, where in the secondary market, if I wasn't in on the initial public offering, I can then buy shares from people who were, or from people who bought shares from someone who bought shares in the initial public offering. It's really just the initial transaction that creates ownership shares in the company, that gives the company money for creating that equity, and then gives the ownership share for the people who are buying into the company, so that they're entitled to profits moving forward.
So when there's owners of a company, let's say there's two partners in a company and they want to go public and their business is appraised at, let's say, $100 million, just for a clean number.
Even now,
Is that 100 million offered to the public, or do they say, okay, this partner is going to get 25, this partner is going to get 25, and then the public will be offered 50? How, like, do they determine that? How does that work?
good question. That's all part of the deliberation process and the due diligence. The partners created some sort of document for the business that set an initial ownership structure. So if it's 50-50 between partners, when they go through the prospectus and the process to go to initial public offering, they're going to negotiate how much of the company they're giving up. So say each of them agree to give up for 30%, right? So they're going to end up with 20% each. Out of that 100 million, the company is then going to get 60 million, because the owners are then going to get the $20 million worth of the other shares
Right.
each, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do they each have to both agree on the same amount, or can they do different amounts each?
They can do different amounts. So like the movie The Social Network, for example, Mark Zuckerberg owned the majority of the company. And then as they went through their funding rounds, and like you can do funding rounds before an initial public offering with private equity, that's when the company's still private. As those offering rounds continued, different people lost different percentages of ownership share. So, like, for example, the company started out like 60% or 70%, Mark Zuckerberg owned it, right? And then it was like 15, 10, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the other people involved. As time went on, Zuckerberg and other people had to take sacrifices in their ownership to attract new investors for these funding rounds. So his ownership share decreases. So instead of owning 63% of the company, he might now own 33% of the company, but the guy at 6% ownership only went down to 5% or 4%. It's not always proportional. Different people are sacrificing different things depending on the structure and the negotiations, and just a lot of factors that go on to the context of the situation.
Okay.
Kyle, have you seen The Accountant with Ben Affleck?
Oh, it's
Yeah, really
so
good.
good.
It's literally, it might be in my top 5 of all time. I freaking love that movie.
Love that movie.
But it makes me think of at the end when they realize like what they're doing, and I never understood. So can you explain what they were trying to do with the money, why they were taking money from the company to like short the stock or whatever? Because then they were going to go public. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I forget. I just remember
Put
it's
that
a
on
good
put that on your list to research this week. Watch the movie and listen to what they say at the end so you can explain it to me.
Okay.
There's a goal.
So basically they were going to take the company public, and the
I
whole
thought it was like an embezzlement thing,
yes,
didn't they?
the whole reason why the movie was a thing is they were missing X amount of dollars.
And he had to find it.
And he came in and figured out
Right.
where the money was going. And so then him and Anna Kendrick are sitting on the couch and it like hits him and he talks about someone else. I forget what the guy's name is he talks about. And he's like, this person did this as this and this. And like, because he wanted to go public and then realize like, this is what they're doing.
I'll have to get more context.
That's your homework for this week for me.
Okay.
All right. Am I up? Lex, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. I think I have more organized list this week. We'll see in how quickly I start just rambling on. So I just want to start with some stats highlights from this week. So I have currently 1,554 followers on TikTok, 83 followers on Instagram, which was a 3% increase on TikTok and a 17% increase on Instagram. So
Heck yeah.
I know 83 doesn't sound like a lot of followers on Instagram, but compared to last week, that was, I would consider, a significant increase. And then the one video worth noting from this past week that had any kind of significant views on it was one on Instagram that, as of about 2 hours ago, had 42.5 thousand views on it on Instagram. So I did post every day on both. Posted every day since last week on Instagram and TikTok. Posted my whole Memorial Day series.
Heck yeah.
Wrapped that up on Monday and then was just posting my random stuff yesterday and today. Last week on Friday, it was the first time in a long time that I actually enjoyed just scrolling through TikTok. It's been a while since I've used TikTok on that side instead of just editing videos, posting videos. I feel like that's all I ever do whenever I have the app open now. But it was really fun to just sit there and have nothing to do and just scroll, scroll for hours. I ended up in a couple comment sections. That was fun. Liked a lot of stuff. And it was funny because I obviously am logged into both my Cooking Depot TikTok and my personal TikTok. And whenever I would switch between accounts, my For You page is very, very different on both, which is intentional on my part. Whenever I'm on my Cooking Depot page, I only actually sit there and watch videos that are either food videos or DIY projects. And whenever I'm on my personal page, I end up with videos that are more just lifestyle stuff, traveling stuff, political stuff, some food stuff, some DIY stuff, but kind of all over the place. So it was just funny to kind of see whenever I would flip back and forth between the For You pages, how different they really can be. A couple of things that experience-wise, just continuing to learn through the process that I learned this past week, I stumbled across a thing in the app that you can actually pay for views and they're not shy about it. They actually offer up coupons for paying for views. They offer up discounts. Like I get notifications that's like 20% off, literally. So whenever you go to the page on TikTok where you can essentially pay for views, there's a couple different tabs at the top. So at the top, the one tab says Get Sales, the one tab says Boost Account, the one tab says Boost Life, the other says Get Leads. So the one that I was looking a little more closely on was the Boost Account tab. And within that tab, then there's 3 different subsections where one says more views, one says more followers, one says more profile views. So you can pay for each of those individual things. You can specifically pay to get more views. You can specifically pay to get more followers, and you can specifically pay to just get more profile views in general. So I wrote down just some numbers to kind of give you guys an idea of what they're charging for these things. So I was looking at the views tab. If you want a guaranteed 1,000 views in one day, you can pay $8 for 1,000 views. If you want a guaranteed 2,800 views, it's $19.80. And if you want a guaranteed 7,900 views in a day, it's $55.50. So I just thought it was kind of crazy that they're not shy. It's not like on Instagram where people are like, does that person pay for views? And it's like a secretive thing that they just have some robots or something. No, TikTok is advertising the fact that you can actually pay for views.
So I actually just wrote down a question for you to ask pretty much about like the whole robot thing. Like, so are these real people like that are viewing it,
So-
or are these like robots, AI, like people used to do whenever they would pay for followers or views or whatever on Instagram?
So I don't know if you've noticed, Lex, I know you use TikTok, how doesn't. So you're the only one that's really going to be able to understand this answer. But I don't know if you've noticed, my For You page has been kind of weird lately.
Yeah.
Like I've had stuff that I typically wouldn't see on my For You page.
Yeah.
Which to me is TikTok just pushing these videos at whoever they think they can because that person paid for the views.
Okay. That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's definitely some things that I'm like, I
Like
definitely
they're going to guarantee they put your video on this many people's page in that day.
yeah.
So yes, it's actual people. I don't
You
know
have
how
to
they do
watch it
I don't know
full
how
way
they do the follower thing though. That I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have to watch it the full way through to get a view? I don't actually like know that answer. Or can you just watch like a second of it? Because like you can obviously throw it on someone's For You page, but that doesn't mean they're gonna watch it full way through.
No, you don't have to watch the whole way through for it to count as a view.
Okay.
But if you're someone that's in the creativity beta program,
Yeah.
how long they watch it, I believe, goes into how much money you make off of it.
Okay.
I just thought that was wild though.
Yeah. That's so you
I
have
didn't think about that aspect of it. Like, I don't know how they do the followers thing. How do they guarantee that you have that many? They just randomly have people all of a sudden follow people. Like, they just go into random accounts and say, you're going to follow this person now. I don't know how that works. I really don't.
I don't know how that works, but I mean I know there's obviously like I'll get like a suggested to follow. So maybe like people are just like, oh, well, like sure, I'll follow them and hope that they get that many people. Or again, or is it robots and AI that they're just like, here you go,
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
here's a couple followers.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like my bit, like, so is it only like creator accounts that you can do that on, or is it like any personal account too that you can buy these, like to buy the followers?
Well, I'm not even in the creativity beta program yet on my things. So I would think it's anyone. Let me look on, hold on. Let me look real quick on my personal to see if I can see that. Yeah, I can see it on it. Although it says no videos yet, but I do have 2 or 3 videos on this account. So I don't know why it says that, but yeah, I can see this page still on this account. Yeah. Anyways, another thing that I went through this week was signing up to promote stuff on the TikTok shop. And like I was texting Seth about it. He did this too. I got him to do it.
He told me about it.
I stumbled across the moonshine thing or the alcohol thing that he bought. And I'm like, dude, you could be making money to just post videos of the stuff that you're already doing.
Oh my gosh, it's so good too. He just did it. Sorry to kind of cut you off, but he pulled it off. I'll give it to him.
Yeah. So in order to promote stuff on the TikTok shop, the criteria is you must be 18 years or older. You must follow basic creator guidelines, which I think everyone's doing, hopefully. And then you just must have 1,000 followers. So last week I talked about seeing a video that they bumped it down to 500. It is 1,000. You have to have 1,000 followers in order to do it, which I met all of those things. So I filled out all my information. It was super duper easy. It asked for my name, date of birth, my address, last 4 of the SOCH. I think that was it. And then I was literally approved instantly. And so then the way it works, you can just shop through the marketplace. And it's really cool because when you find a product that you like, you can click on it and it'll actually tell you how much you will earn on each sale of that product. So just again, for easy numbers, let's say a product is $10. It'll say you'll earn $1. And then it'll give you then, normally they're not that easy of numbers. So then it'll say 10%. So it'll actually tell you the percentage of profit that you would make off of that item off of each sale as well.
That's cool.
So there's a lot of really cool features. And it also tells you how many of those items were sold. It'll tell you how many of those items are in stock. So for example, like I probably wouldn't want to promote something that there's only 20 in stock of, because then it's going to sell out and then you're not going to make any more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really cool features that are available on there to see as you're exploring through the different products. I did order 2 different things off of the TikTok shop. I haven't gotten either of them yet, but once I get them, I am going to make videos with them. And I'm just curious to see how the difference is with TikTok pushing out videos that have the TikTok shop linked in them. I have a feeling that TikTok is pushing those videos. So I'm just curious to see how the views will differentiate.
Do you have to post videos with them, or can you just like have your TikTok shop linked in your account?
So I have it. It's called the Showcase, which is funny because on Amazon it's storefront. It's Showcase on TikTok. You add everything to your Showcase, and like anyone that views my profile can click on the Showcase and can do it via that. It's just the more clicks.
And when you say do it, that means like purchase right then and there, right?
Yeah. Like you can go to my TikTok page right now, click on my Showcase, and you can see, I think I only have 3 products in it right now. You can see the 3 products that I have in my Showcase, and you can click buy if you want.
And what do you get for that?
It depends on the product. Like, I don't know were you listening whenever I said the $10 example?
I was, but I might have missed it.
Doesn't sound like you were listening.
Yeah, definitely not.
Like it depends on the item. So it'll say how much the item costs, and then it'll say right under it how much you earn per sale. So my example for easy numbers, I said if the item costs $10 to buy, it'll say right below it, you make $1. And then it'll say beside that, it's 10%. Like it'll tell you how much you make off of it, and it'll tell you what percentage that is of the overall cost. I also said already, it tells you how many are in stock and how many have been sold. I think that was it for a TikTok shop. Is there any other questions from that, Lex?
I think that's about it. But I have actually bought stuff from TikTok shop just to kind of chime in on that. And I do like the items.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
I've been the person that's been very skeptical of it.
I was honestly really skeptical as well, but so many people had bought items off of their prior that I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just
another thing I'm curious about that I'm going to test out too. If you buy a product somewhere else and then you find the same product in TikTok shop, not necessarily the same exact, but like Seth, for example, he bought that off of Amazon, right?
Yeah.
If he posts that in the video and it's not the exact same, but he links it.
Yeah.
How well does that do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You mean in terms of how much you're going to get paid off of something like that?
Well, the monetary value wouldn't change because what you link isn't changing. It's just, I don't know if TikTok's AI is smart enough to know that it's not the exact product in the video or not.
Well, yeah, because I know there's a lot of like bags and brushes are the exact same, or not the exact same like you're saying, but 98% similar or identical on Shein and TikTok shop, because I know the brush that I got off of TikTok shop, I found it on Shein, and then I was like, well, already got it. Or like I've known people like got there was like this viral like work bag going around like a couple months ago, and I just found it on Shein. So it's like,
when like I just redid my spice cabinet, I bought like the cute little matching spice things. Yeah. So I could easily link one that's basically the same thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to play around with that as well.
Yeah. I would like to know the answer to that for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on from TikTok shop. So last week I touched on, I guess we touched on what happens if TikTok gets banned and all that fun stuff. So this week, whenever I was I was filming one of my videos because my phone actually cut off in the middle of it. It stopped recording and said my phone was full of storage, which, keep in mind, my phone is, first of all, 256 gigabyte phone. And then on top of that, I pay for 2 terabytes a month of storage on my iCloud. So as soon as I record videos and pictures and stuff that night, they automatically get put on my iCloud. So they're not.
You remember how much 256 gig was when like the original
I
iPhones came
literally,
out?
my phones for years were 16 gigabytes max.
Same.
16.
Yeah, because every other one was so much more expensive. So it was like you were getting 16, that was it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's 2 terabytes.
Yeah. Well, terabytes are my iCloud storage. It's not my phone. My phone's 256.
Regardless,
I know,
though,
but still,
256.
like, yeah.
But my point in saying that is I don't have I have enough storage on my phone. I shouldn't have run out of space. So I'm investigating. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And I find out that TikTok, the app itself, is using over 100 gigabytes of storage. It was like, I think I wrote 104 down, but I think it was actually like 112 gigabytes of storage on my phone. It said 44% of my storage was being used by TikTok. And I'm like, what the heck? So I continue to look around, see if I can get rid of some of that storage somehow. And the one option in settings says you can offload the app. And then right below it, and I wrote word for word here so I can read it because I thought this was very interesting. It says, this will free up storage used by the app, but keep its documents and data. Reinstalling the app will place back your data if the app is still available in the App Store. If the app is still available in the App Store, that's where they're going to get people.
Yeah.
People are going to delete the app because they're trying to get storage on their phone, and then the app's going to be gone and they're not going to be able to re-download it. So last week when I talked about this, I said, if you still have it on your phone, you'll still be able to use it. You just won't be able to download it. Right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. Any comments on that, Kyle?
I mean, I don't really have much to add. I think they're going to try their hardest to get it to be banned, and they're going to try. I don't think it's, after I've thought about it more, I don't think it's constitutional for them to do so. I think they can make it so that it can be it's so tough because then it's like a ultimatum if you do it that way, of like putting an ultimatum together of like you have to divest and make it a non-Chinese company and make it American owned, or what? Because like you're going to have a punishment if you make them do that. I get the national security concern because China obviously has nefarious intentions with the US, and them having access to that much data is not good. But I still don't think it's constitutional for them to prevent people from using a platform like that and consuming stuff like that. So I don't know. And I think, yeah, that's probably how they're going to do it, is by doing it very secretly, taking more and more as they can. But I don't use TikTok, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lex, while I'm going on, look at your phone. I want to know how much.
I actually just looked as we were talking about that. My TikTok only has 1.64 gigabytes documents and data.
How the heck? So wait,
because you like a lot more. You have a lot of saved videos on there. You have so much posted content saved.
I guess my posts probably do it
because
but
it's different from the documents and data that you actually have inside of it. Between your drafts and posts, you probably have at least quadruple what I have even just in my drafts. So I would assume that's why your documents and data in it have so much more. Like,
for sure,
my largest thing that's using in my storage is my messages, because again, it's all of my like big videos or photos or whatever that I've sent to people, and I've just refused to delete them because if I ever need to go reference something.
What's your cache or whatever say? Is it cache? Is that how you say it?
I just thought it was cache.
so I think it's cache.
It is.
How many? What does yours say?
Cache is just CASEH. Cache
where do you see that?
So go to your TikTok first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Go to your
like my actual app.
Yes.
Oh. Give me a minute.
When you go to TikTok, then you'll go to settings.
Settings and privacy.
And then scroll down and you want to click free up space.
Okay.
And then there's 3 sections. It says cache, downloads, drafts.
Yeah. Do you want me to read all of them?
And see, this also doesn't make sense. I have to look actually at my other accounts. Yes, please read them.
My cache is 135.3 MB.
Okay, megabytes. That's
Yeah.
basically the same as mine. One's 148.
Downloads is 276.5.
Okay, you're more than me. Mine's 112.
Drafts is 11.6
Gigs or meg?
meg.
So my drafts are more. My drafts is 6.9 gig, but that makes sense because I have full videos waiting to post.
Yeah.
But so those right there don't add up to like 100 something. Hold on, I gotta go look at my.
Overall, it says I use 1.46 gigabytes on like up at the top, and then it says occupies 1% of device's storage.
The math is not mathing because no, it's all the same. So how many megabytes are in a gigabyte? Is it 100? Wait, no, it would be 1,000, right?
1,000.
So it's 178 megabytes plus 112 megabytes. So let's just say 300, even for easy math. That's less than a gig, right? It's like less than half of a gig. So how does that adding with 6.9 gigs add to be 113 gigs?
Yeah, there's definitely some numbers missing there.
Right?
Yeah.
They're off by 100 gig.
How does that not like?
Yeah, I'm confused.
I'm gonna look into that for sure.
Yeah, I would say. Honestly, please do, because I want to know like how much a genuine
Yeah.
like, where is the numbers coming from?
That's crazy. Okay, moving on. Last week, the one question you guys, Kyle asked specifically was how can you help? And I thought of an answer that I could have said last week. And this is more directed towards Lex because Kyle doesn't have TikTok.
Yeah.
The whole repost feature, not that you have to do this, but if you ever want to hit repost, I think that's how my bread dipping oil video continued to get as many views as it did because
Okay.
it got around 50,000 views ish, and then it kind of plateaued. It wasn't getting significantly more. It was still getting a little bit of views, but it wasn't getting significantly more. And then a few people would repost, and then all of a sudden it starts jumping again. And so then it jumps up to like 350,000.
Okay.
And then it plateaued again. It wasn't really going up much. And then all of a sudden a couple people reposted, and now it's up, it's close to like 550,000 as of today. But so that repost feature, all it does is anyone that you follow or that follows you, I don't know which way it works, when you repost, it ends up on their For You page. So it's just naturally showing it to more people.
Yeah. Can you see how many people repost it?
I get it on my notifications. It says so and so reposted your video.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've actually never like reposted a video like that.
Yeah.
Prior. At least
That's kind of like the add to your story feature on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you can see videos you've reposted. I've done one.
Yeah. So if you ever feel like doing it, that would be an answer that I should have said last week.
You got it.
And then my last thing is that this week I decided to make a new Instagram to match the name on my personal TikTok. And I'm going to start posting more lifestyle content. So my personal TikTok and Instagram are both Mern, which is my nickname, MERN _. And I'm going to post travel stuff, trying out new restaurants, just basic lifestyle stuff, living in Florida, all the things on both. And what made me have the idea of doing this is I stumbled across this girl on TikTok. Her name is Alexandra Hallman, and she actually wrote a book that's called The Sleepy Millionaire Get Paid to Travel. And she literally just travels and gets paid to do it. She takes pictures at resorts, at hotels, at certain locations, and she sells those pictures to those hotels, to those resorts, whatever it may be, and gets her vacations for free, first of all, because they fly her out there, they pay for her stay, and then she makes money on top of it. So that's kind of my motivation behind that. I did buy her book. It's $9.99 for the book. It's electronic only, which I don't like because I like a paper book. So I did print it out so I can still read it on paper. And it's
It
only
says $26 on Amazon.
as a paperback book.
No.
On her website, it's only $9.99.
Well, yeah, whenever you made the new Instagram and you followed me, I was like, is this a spam? I was like,
I've actually had so many people text me and be like, "Did you get a new Instagram?" My mom texted me last night. She's like, "Did you get a new Instagram?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Is it okay if I follow this one too?" I'm like, "Yes, Mom."
no, yeah, seriously. I was like really like I was like, did she
It
mean to
okay.
make another one?
Yes, I
was
did mean to do that. Yes. So I'm about like a third of the way through the book ish. And so far, I don't love it. I will say it's not a lot of things that I wouldn't consider myself to already know, common sense kind of stuff. But I will continue to update next week. I'll probably be done with it by next week. So I'll put my final thoughts in my notes for next week. And then today I came up with kind of a plan. I don't want to overdo myself with posting every day on my Cooking Depot and posting every day on my lifestyle. And I also don't think I could have enough content to do that. I'm not traveling every day. So my two goals that I came up with is to post at least one reel a week for lifestyle stuff. So one reel going to the beach, one reel going to maybe this museum or this cool hidden spot that nobody knows about, and then one reel a week trying a new restaurant. So two posts per week on that account for now is my goal. And then just goals overall for the upcoming week. I want to finish that book. I want to make my video with the TikTok shop link once those products get here. I want to, this was already on my thing last week. I want to make a video with my face in it, kind of just like talking through the recipe, winging it. Still haven't done that. Still on my list of things that I want to do. Today, one thing that I came across is that I couldn't figure out how to continue recording. So normally I record stuff just on my phone and then I upload the pictures and videos to TikTok. If you start recording within the TikTok app itself and then you save it as a draft, I can't figure out how to then go back and continue recording. So that's on my list of things to do, figure out how to do that. And then I just want to make a short list of DIY projects that I want to tackle over the summer.
I feel like I personally, sorry, Kyle, I don't really have any like direct questions because I feel like we kind of talked through a lot of kind of what you were going through as you went along.
Yeah, I kind of just have some comments, questions, just continuing on from it. People don't really realize the creator role is a job and it basically replaces your scrolling time. Are you sad at all about not being able to scroll as much?
Yes and no. Yes, I really, really enjoyed those few hours just sitting there and scrolling. But I also have a shit ton of fun filming and editing and creating the videos too.
Another question I have is Cookin' Depot product or food review videos, kind of like Barstool Pizza review. Have you thought about doing stuff like that? That was so huge for Barstool and
So yeah, I want to do that on my personal page, which I was going back and forth because I was like, well, should I do it on Cooking Depot? Because that's already food stuff. But I want to leave Cooking Depot for me cooking, me making DIY, doing projects, me doing the things. And then my personal be the lifestyle, the try new places, the experiences aspect of it. So all the reviews will be on that page. So yes, I will be doing them. I want to do one per week. It'll just be on my Mern page, not my Cooking Depot.
Are you going to put links for each of the accounts in the bios so you can kind of like incorporate them? Or are you going to try to keep them separate?
You mean like Cooking Depot put Mern and Mern put Cooking Depot?
Mm-hmm.
So as of now, I was planning at least putting them in my private personal Instagram. I have like so many accounts now. I don't know. I haven't thought about doing it within those two.
No, you're good. I almost think that might even be like a little overdoing it. I think like spreading out your content over like another thing. I think within the niche that you're trying to do, just like you're trying to incorporate more videos of like you being on there. I don't think it's counterproductive to have like other kind of videos on there where it's just you eating at fucking Panera and like, oh, this is really good, this is really bad, or whatever it is. And I think that's a really good way to make money. I think the quickest way for you to make money is by getting either brand advertising from like Panera asking you to do that and just rate their products honestly, or posting a bunch of short videos or even longer videos with specific products like the Tupperware shit, like I mentioned to you and you sent it to me. Like those are you only have to have a few people to click links for money to start coming in, and that's where I think
I don't
adding
disagree.
that
Yeah.
adding that to the Cook and Depot is just going to create one more quantity. Just like I've been saying, that's another piece to that quantity thing of not trying to pigeonhole yourself into a style of video or a type of a video. Being versatile and being open to what else that you can post is just going to open more opportunities for you to capture brand advertising dollars and more clicks for products and shit.
I totally see that thought. My thought though is one content creator that comes to mind specifically, he goes by CIBs on TikTok. He makes food content. He has a TikTok page for his recipes, and then he has a TikTok page that's like more his like vlog style videos, which I like because when a creator starts posting and has this style content, I follow them because that's what I want to see. I don't want to see them talking for 5 minutes about what they did in that day. I want to see what food they're making. So you follow someone for a specific reason. So I can make money on those reviews still. I'll just make money off of them off of the different account. I'm still posting them.
No, I get the philosophy. You're trying to build authenticity and credibility within your page and stick to the niche more strictly to build that credibility. It's a longer term play, but I think that is a very valid and probably better play in the long term.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you, Chief.
All right. Last, I was just going to give myself a little shout out. Cooking.depot, cooking without the G, cooking.depot on both TikTok and Instagram.
Heck yeah. All right. That does it for today's episode of the Three Path Profits podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening and encourage you to leave any comments or questions to help us improve moving forward. We'll be posting episodes every Friday, so please stay tuned and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any episodes or any important updates from us. If you did enjoy the podcast, please tell a friend or family member you think that would enjoy it. Also, please make sure to check out our social media pages on TikTok and Instagram at 3.path.profits. And we appreciate all your support, and we'll catch you next week.